Send it off. Let's do it.
Okay. See you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Brendo's at the big desk.
Just like that. Yeah, 12 o'clock, guys, on a Black Friday edition of the market overall. It's going to be one more hour to go here. Equities wrapping things up at 1 p.m. today. Options shortly thereafter. As we expected, kind of a quiet session overall. That being said, there have been a few individual movers to have a look at so far today. Here's Bitcoin. Just a quick update. We did get a huge wick up through 38,000. We're back below right now, trying to consolidate, but positive for crypto-related equities, specifically on the day on that move from BTC. More importantly, holiday shopping update. I've only bought one thing so far. It's lunchtime, so still lots of time, but 0.25% right now for Adobe. They came out today and said that this holiday season is going to be record-breaking for them as far as not only Black Friday, but Cyber Monday coming up on Monday. Adobe, though, downside ever so slightly today. It's a bit of a mixed board, as we saw early on this morning. Big tech offsetting the rest of everything, essentially. Some positivity in the healthcare group, pharma stocks specifically. Eli Lilly, J&J does more than that, but also positive. United Health there, UNH, XOM, some of the energy names holding on to positive territory as well. Walmart, Costco, a lot of people, I bet, at Costco. Maybe not today, but going back to Wednesday, preparing for today. Tesla, 1.5%. My voice is dying already. It must be lunchtime. Let's talk about a few things that we were discussing if you're with us this morning. That's the overall market. Yeah, teeny tiny little daily candle forming. It is red right now, but we'll see how things shape up. One of the things we kind of led off the day with was this move. If you go recent low to where we are right now, 13.7% for the NASDAQ, or the Q is the high, about 14.8%, top, like basically straight up without a pullback whatsoever. So we're wrapping up the holiday shortened week within the range of where things started off this morning. NVIDIA was top of the list this morning. We were talking about this Chinese headline that came out. The H200, I believe it is, their latest chip that they came up with to get around the US restrictions on sending this type of hardware to China has been delayed. So as we're talking here, a bit of a downtick already, a little bit of selling volume coming into the overall market as well. But day lows back in play here, guys, for NVIDIA on this China note today.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Coming back into the downside is NVIDIA, but I heard you say something about lunch, and I saw a few people in the chat were wondering, and, well, it's kind of, can you hit the key for me? Do we have it? Or maybe I have it somewhere. Oh, maybe I do have it. I do have it. Aha. Some of the keys that Sean has on his Stream Deck, I don't, but that is one that was added. So if you're wondering, it was chicken. Not to surprise you guys, but we had Southern baked chicken with wedged potatoes and Chipotle barbecue sauce. Now, I ate a salad, which was a which was a salad with chicken salad on it. Oh, there's no good way to say that, actually. But so Fabian
salad inception?
That's what it looks like. You put ketchup instead of the barbecue sauce?
I did ketchup.
When you mix the ketchup with the barbecue sauce?
I live on the edge.
Nice.
How do we feel about that?
I don't know.
You guys, because I would never mix barbecue sauce. I'm not mixing barbecue sauce with ketchup. If you like ketchup, you could have two sauces and then dip one and dip the other. Anyways, yeah, you know what? I just saw someone put it in there. Where is my button? I'm going to throw a fail on mixing barbecue sauce with ketchup. Absolutely not. No, we're not doing that. So a couple of things. Let's go back to stocks for a quick second, because now you've just got me frazzled with nonsensical food combinations there, Fabian. NVIDIA, look, the idea for me was to short. We did have a good morning, but this was the biggest missed opportunity, no questions asked. I was looking at 490 for a fade trade. This is the reason why. On Wednesday, there was your afternoon top after it gave a lot up in the early afternoon. Late afternoon, 490 resistance. I just missed the entry by about 30 cents. I had my order was resting at 489.55, so I did miss that short opportunity. I didn't want to go long. I don't want to go long now either. It's right at the absolute bottom with the futures holding 16,000. This might not set up for a trade here. Remember, we only have 50. We're in power hour right now.
Yeah, this is
okay. So if you like a set, something has to really set up for you perfectly. And I don't see any trades. And maybe a fail at VWAP if we get back in there. I was actually looking at AMD. I think if I take a trade in one of the in the chip names, I think I'm looking at AMD here because that is starting to give it up. If it goes red to green, it can't hold VWAP, and we pull back into 16,000. This would be the chip name I would look to take a trade in.
Yeah. So again, nothing too crazy there. We are definitely in power hour right now, and yeah, I got a little long there on the 115 on top of coin there, just looking for a potential continuation, but it has gone quite sideways, and we're noticing that a lot of these other names are going pretty much sideways. Again, the morning trend is starting to definitely bend here. We got out of our Apple short as it kind of comes in. Neil astutely pointed out that 189.30, and take a look at that, Neil. We've only been consolidating on top of that level, so definitely good reasons to buy, good reasons to cover. I did get a little bit of a cheeky short here, kind of looking for that continuation back in through that 189, but that never really came, even though I was pointing out to Neil, take a look at some of these sell candles. The selling is aggressive when it does come right back in into some of these levels here, but that 189.30 holding quite well. So that 16,000 bounce, I missed it here while I was eating some lunch there, but that 16,000 bounce, oh boy, we kind of reverting back into the move. But something to note, relatively lower highs. That's all I'm going to say.
It's true.
All right, Tesla, I was just checking out this, a couple of people mentioning this IMPL, but a little tiny penny stock making a move here on decent volume. There's been random, I was explaining to Adara earlier on this morning, on days like this, you tend to get random moves that don't really make sense, like that Ford move today on days when not a lot of people are watching the market. But let's talk about Tesla here. $2 billion potentially going into an India manufacturing facility. That comes from, was it Washington Post this morning? Something like that. 1.2% here. It was among the most positive right out of the gate this morning, continues to be.
Yeah, and I've talked to Brendo about this before off camera. I'm like, is it time to throw money at India right now? Because India is booming, but they have a very protectionist system there. And they have had that for a while. So to get into their market, there's going to have to be a quid pro quo. And in this case, it's going to have to be Tesla investing in the infrastructure there, whether by way of gigafactory or the building of the infrastructure around that gigafactory so it can support the workers. But here's the deal so far. So Tesla's proposed to invest about $500 million initially, and that will remove tariffs on about 12,000 imported Teslas into China, and then the investment could increase up to $2 billion, in which case it'll be 30,000 cars that are exempt from that tariff. So just the first step here, Brendo.
All right, it was the Economic Times, not the Washington, whatever I just said. Nice look though today, guys. Positive anyways for Tesla.
It is, but you're trying to hold on to VWAP as we speak. This is actually setting up for a potential bounce here on Tesla. So you had the opening range high. You can see it there, as usual. Whether we come back on at 2 o'clock or at 12 o'clock, I tend to have these weird gaps in my 3-minute chart. But either way, 236.5. There's a bounce. There's a consolidation over it. You're now looking to make the same bounce. It also happens to be VWAP there on my 3-minute chart. So if I can see some signs of green or strength off of this level, I'd look to enter along, but it's not really giving me that sense just yet. So Tesla looking pretty strong today. I didn't have a trade to the long side. We did point out that you had 231.50 on Wednesday. That was a good support level. So there was something to work off of. This was just not a name that was on my radar. We'll get to XPeng. That was the EV name that you would have seen me in this morning. Tesla, it looks like there could be a bit of a bounce play. Just remember the amount of time we have left. You are probably looking for some scalp plays. Like, I wouldn't think we bounce off this long and we're going to get too much more. Like, I'd be real happy if we got to the dollar. 238.5 is a high of the day. If you get $1.50, I'd be thrilled if we were bouncing off this and giving that much. So looks like we are holding on to 237. Gimme, always gets. So Now, I'm actually in this one now. If it breaks the local bottom, I get out. I think there's a decent opportunity for a bounce play here. And we held 16,000 in the futures. This held VWAP. It was a key level earlier. So first trade of the day in Tesla, coincidentally enough. Sometimes the timing is right. But remember, this is a power hour trade, despite it being 12.
Yeah, some strong action there. We were talking about this in the morning, Neil. What's up with the disconnect on Tesla? Not even a disconnect. There's like an inversely proportional relationship. When market goes up, Tesla goes down. When Tesla goes down, market goes up.
It's the EVs, man.
It's
all the EVs.
It's quite a very interesting kind of thing that's been happening over the past few days there. But yeah, we talked about a little bit of a reversion if this level doesn't necessarily continue, and we did get that. We kind of broke back above yesterday's. By yesterday, I mean last Wednesday's kind of consolidation highs right here at that 235 level, and we're holding above that. So decent look there, but not really getting anywhere. Pretty much sideways on the longer time frame in terms of what we've been doing this week there. But if you had the longs off the open, or if you took that consolidation hold right there, take a look at that. That's beautiful right there off the 235, and that continuation back up in towards that 240, about a 50% retracement of Wednesday's price action there. A lot of this I like to call it shake and bake, where a lot of these prices keep on like coming back in the next day, right? You can see that Nvidia did that, Amazon did that, and clearly Tesla is doing the shake and bake.
Yeah, you gotta give them a little something with that. Come on now, I'm trying to be entertaining.
I mean,
or
reminds
well,
me
shake and
of,
bake is Talladega Nights, right?
All right, let's talk some China news. First off, I just saw this popping up in front of me again. Baidu having a really nice day here, 3.2%. A little bit of volume coming back into the upside here. JP Morgan with an upgrade and a price target increase this morning on Baidu, pointing to its Ernie AI and more positivity potentially to come from Baidu and Ernie. But yeah, Apple on the board this morning in relation to China as well. We got some sales data from Singles Day that showed a huge drop-off in iPhone sales versus those from Xiaomi, Huawei, Chinese brands. So potentially a negative for Apple.
Yeah, and what a recovery for Huawei, up 66% with respect to sales on the Singles Day, which is, by the way, I think a week or two there in China. So it's not just a day. But yeah, Apple down 4%. With respect to sales during that period compared to last year. Again, though, we should really kind of put a caveat on that, which is they're having a lot of issues with their supply for the iPhone Pro, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which has been in demand but not available for supply. JD.com reporting that they had good Apple sales as well, but overall, it looks like Huawei is biting into their market share, Brendo.
Hasn't been much to do. It was downside out of the gate this morning, and then mind the wick, but pretty flat here so far today, guys, for Apple.
Yeah, but there was an opportunity. I'll just be happy to have gotten back what we lost on Apple with the long. That's all. Oh goodness, that wick! I just cleaned up that wick, and now the wick comes back. See, it just had to show itself to you guys. So, anyways, it's gonna be a little harder to see. But I did have a bounce off 190. That was a loss. It came back into that level. I mean, Obi will tell you his reasons. Suffice to say, I had the 190 short a little bit later as well, and I got out when it bounced off 189.30. But I wasn't the one that was sitting in it all morning long. So I just got, essentially you take the hit and then just get it back on Apple. I don't know if we see an afternoon trade here. It's really sideways. If it were to get back to 190, I think you can scalp that for a short trade. Tighter to the 190 level if it comes into play. But you're running out of time. You have 45 minutes for that to happen. Yeah. Doesn't mean that scalp trade isn't in there. But, Obi, you were in this one from the jump. I mean, from the first opportunity. Yeah. From the jump would have been the 190, 191, but from the first opportunity at 190.
Yeah, I think the opportunity definitely much earlier here. You can see that it's pretty much a continuation off of yesterday's kind of range lows there. Look, the day low on Wednesday was 190.80-ish right here. Take a look at this pre-market crumble, very, very tight, coming right off the open. You reject previous day low very distinctly, and then you break today's pre-market low. Not only do you break today's pre-market low, you consolidate there for multiple minutes underneath that, pretty much holding that 190.60 before that continuation. And again, going back to that same idea, you got to be willing to miss the trade to make the trade. I was like, well, if 190.60 is going to stay heavy, I was late for that. But if we're coming down real heavy, that 190 has been interesting over the past few weeks. And I want to get involved into that 190, and we got short right here. And then when it comes back and gives you the better trade there underneath that 190, really shows you that where that selling is going to happen. We also added onto that level right here. Take a look at this. So this is how we traded that idea on Apple. Short initially, maybe a little too early, but when it comes back and really tells you that it doesn't want that 190, we get involved a little bit more. But as Neil astutely pointed out, that 189.30 is definitely holding up right now, as we've only gone sideways with 45 minutes left to go. I don't think this is going anywhere too fast.
Like you wouldn't get off; they would just pick up more people. Hi, XPeng, 6.7% on the day, coming off this Volkswagen note this morning. If you,
I
good?
muted it.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah.
If you remember, I mean, I'm sure my mic wasn't, but that's fine. If you remember going back a couple months ago, Volkswagen announced they were teaming up with XPeng to get into the Chinese market. So more details coming out on the platform that they're going to use. I mean, they tried to sell this thing initially today, but right back to highs almost right now.
Yeah, Brendo, it's an older platform that they're actually going to use for this less expensive format car. They want to take more of the market share for that, entry-level, mid-level EV, and they're going to team up with VW to do it. Obviously, VW has scale in Europe, but looking to get into the Chinese market, obviously being the biggest auto market in the world. So a good look. We'll see how they execute, but yeah, being rewarded for that idea today.
Don't look now, Sharif, but XPeng is testing August highs.
Oh.
Next stop here for the daily chart.
Oh my goodness, we're talking about a Chinese EV to the upside that isn't Li Auto. You are still watching Trader TV Live, believe it or not. This is amazing. It feels, okay, why are you hitting the fail? You know what, it is okay for XPeng to have a good day. It doesn't mean that Li Auto stinks or anything, Sharif. It's perfectly fine. And by the way, for everyone, if you watch this tape, this tape live, episode 2 of the podcast, or if you're going to listen to it when we release it tomorrow morning, I'm going to spoil something that I said. So I'm promising you this, and I want Sharif to hear this too, because we talked a little bit about Li Auto on the podcast, and I go, whatever the topic is when Sharif does the podcast next week with Brendan, regardless of what they talk about, I promise you Sharif is going to mention Li Auto. I'm getting it out there. Don't at me. You guys all know what's going to happen. But let's get back to some business here with XPeng. Every now and then it'll be like this. It's just going to be this way. We like the 1850 breakout in XPeng.
Yes.
We got the 1850 breakout in XPeng. I held it to 1875. This is the kind of day where you're not necessarily going to get it all the way to 19. However, I had a break-even stop. Well, it's not really break-even. It was back at the 50s. And then that happened. Like, I just wicked out the bottom. Market bounced. It came back in. If it's any other day, like if it wasn't a holiday, there's a really decent chance I give it a few extra cents in there. But I tend to have a really tight stop. Like, it works or it doesn't work. I don't want this breaking down. I'm just going to stop it out before it even gets to VWAP. Just allow it to try to hold that 50, give it a penny or so below it, and that's it. So in this case, it's going to suck. But if this wasn't a holiday, I would have given this more time to work. It has everything to do with the fact that it's only the last hour of the day. Like, there's no way normally at noon I'd be that frugal with that kind of a reload. Like I said, I was holding on to the last 10% of the trade anyways. But it's not going to look very good, but that's where the stop was. So XPeng continues to go higher. It's a good-looking chart. We look at the daily chart here. The other thing I observed, and I'll just to repeat myself because you might not have tuned in this morning, if you have this channel, since it failed 20, the channel to the downside is now broken with this close that's going to be above 18, actually above 1850. So this is in the midst of a break. It's got resistance at 19, but this could be a nice run. And were it to break 20, you guys can see where the upside is. So it's not just Li Auto that has the potential to go, only because I'm going to show it to you. The one that's not going, I don't know what to tell you about. If you're a fan of NIO, it is what it is. You've seen what's going on with XPeng today. You've seen what's going on with Li Auto in a general sense. It's been really strong. NEO is down today and cannot get off this bid. It is on a collision. I say it every day. It's on a collision course with the $7 level. There's going to be some scalp opportunities. I hope so off 7. But if this breaks, that is nasty. This one does not want to go with the group. It's still in a downward ascending channel into that $7 level. And one of these days it's going to break. And I just hope that I'm not off that day.
Yeah, that that XFEB is we kind of pointed out some of these levels in the morning, right? Especially that 1860. But I also talked about this 1820 where we saw on Tuesday it reject very clearly, and then I also stated that, like, okay, in the pre-market we have gapped above that level, so definitely that price is very interesting. And if we do anything significant in and around that price, it could be a reason to get involved on top of that 1820, and take a look at that. A little bit of a shake and bake into the 18, and then look at the consolidation that holds right after it, right on top of the 1820s before we continue back up to the upside and then push to the next level right there at 1860. So I think that was a good look. Again, you don't know what it's going to do off of this price. You could have gotten short off of that price, still made money, and then got long into that price as well. But this consolidation hold and that continuation, and piled on with that multi-time frame trend break that Neil just pointed out, I think that we are kind of setting up for a little bit of a multi-day move here on XPEB.
All right, I was just noting Coinbase here, having quite the day. Bitcoin, as I showed you at 2 o'clock there when we came on, through 38,000, comes back below. We're trying to close above it. But I was just noticing on Coinbase, if you go all the way back to July, that high, 114.8575, call it. I mean, it's right here, right now, coming into play. So doing its best right now to maybe close above it with 40 minutes to go here in the session for coin. So a nice look on the daily chart anyways with this move in crypto today.
Yeah, 52-week highs, Brendo, we just made right there. So this could be on the back of, yeah, there it is, 52-week highs when we broke 38,392. I see on my chart high a day as 38,444s. But yeah, this could be, you know, just the fact that we've got this CZ stuff out of the way, you know, one of the last issues remaining here before we really get regulatory money into it. A lot of people are wondering what the spot ETF is going to do. I think, you know, it increases trading volume, but it also adds a layer of regulation that hasn't existed in the industry, and so much money has been on the sideline because it's been unregulated. I think we see a lot of flowing of money into it as a result of that, but it's just time will tell type thing, so we'll see.
As Michael Moss was saying, that MicroStrategy with a big day today as well. I was mentioning when we came on here at 2 o'clock, there's just random stocks making random moves with random amounts of volume going off. Here's MindMed just taking out $3 to the upside. Oh, I don't see anything on this. It's been a long time since we've talked about MindMed, but almost 10% on the day just because.
Okay. To say it's been a long time since we talked about this is a bit of an understatement. I'm going to get to crypto in a quick second, but a couple of things first. We'll see if this is a wise decision, but the market is kind of trending down. I wanted to look for an AMD kind of catch-up trade here, so I just shorted this bottom break. If you look at the top of this recent channel, it's like 15 cents. So it's about 20 cents worth of risk on this trade, which is about right given the time of day here. Like, not the, you know what I mean, like the time of day in the market, not necessarily the actual time of day. We don't have that much time to go. So, you know, risk 20 cents in here. If it goes to 122, that's like 1.5 to 1. I'm going to get a bid out in front of that even as well. So we're locked and loaded and ready to go. And then just an update on Tesla, because entered the Tesla trade. Someone had asked what my target was. I was like, yeah, I'm going to wait till it gets to the half and then to 38. Well, it just kept stalling at the quarter. It's like, scalp it, just trade it differently, get in more and trade it differently with a tighter range. So tighter stop, take a little bit more to scalp out, like with the 20 cents. And if I can get a money fill, if it bounces again, I try to get something south of 237. But if this breaks people up, I want to get out. So going back over to crypto, I traded Mara. Wow, was that a good reload? Obi's in 115 a coin. I could have just had Mara at the same price we had this morning.
I got out already.
Oh, you got out?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, well, you were in it. That's the point. So I got the 1110, just to give you an idea what the setup was, and it's a setup that I like. I talk a lot about the pop and fade trade, whereas the stock fails the pre-market high if I'm bearish and then consolidate under and I short. This was the opposite of that. It was a fail break of the 11 level to the downside, holding the Wednesday's close area, not Friday, Neil, Wednesday's close area, and then it comes back up. First consolidation, I grab the long, and then it takes out the high. So that's a setup I like on something I'm bullish on because of what happened with Coinbase. Not Coinbase, Bitcoin. So at the same time, you had Bitcoin, which was showing you a really nice on the hourly trend to the upside. And then if I just pop like a 3-minute, or it doesn't really matter the time frame I pop up. Maybe a 15 will do it a little bit more justice. There we go. I'll pop a 15-minute up for you guys. So in the morning, you were essentially pop and drop, holding on to the 37 level over and over again. And then early today, you're going to get that other test. It was just basically pop and drop pretty much every single time. You had a fail break into 37 much earlier. And then you had the 37.6 level do the same pattern, like pop into resistance and then bounce. Once that was confirmed, I took the one trade in Mara. That was it. Could have reloaded the exact same price, but did not. I don't have a good reason for that. One of the things I like to do is if I see a situation like this where I get a clean trade, okay, went exactly to plan, went to target, went to 1150, I pulled out of it at that moment. But if it sets up again, then I need to have a reason that's charted for myself. When I was younger, I used to like physically journal it. Now I just kind of do it in my head. I need to know why I didn't take this trade, right? So whatever the answer is, and it's a truth that sometimes the answer is I missed it. I was lazy, I was looking at something else, I didn't have the chart up, I was in the bathroom, I was getting lunch. Like that can be the reason, that's fine, I can chart it. Or I looked at it and didn't like it, and then I have to ask myself why I didn't like it. In this particular case, it was the latter. I was like wolfing down, we were like wolfing down lunch, I'm coming back in here and sort of getting ready to come back on, and that's my excuse as we're coming back on air. I just didn't have the chart up, that's it. And so this is a reload every single time and should have been. There's no questions about it. So anyways, you're seeing it break back to the upside. I am going to get some more Tesla out here in the 30s. And before I throw it to you, Adrian, thank you for the super chat. Do you guys own any long-term crypto? I will speak for myself. I own Bitcoin and Ether, and that's it. Okay, that's not entirely true. When Coinbase IPO'd, I opened a Coinbase account. I said if I wanted to own the stock, I wanted to at least test the platform out there. So I have like a really small amount of a couple of things that I just kind of, like I traded a little Solana and Cardano. Like it's not enough to consider an investment. I just wanted to see how it works. But like 99% of my crypto holdings are in Bitcoin and Ether. And that's about it. And a lot of it I actually hold in there's the Purpose ETF here in Canada. When that opened up, I moved most of it into that, because we could put it in our registered account here. We have a TFSA, which is a registered account. It allowed me to hold that there, tax-free savings account. So just to answer your question, I can speak for myself. I do know that Sean owns crypto as well. He owns more than I do in terms of the breadth. Like he also owns some Solana. He owns Cardano as well. I think he XRP. I don't know the amounts, but I can tell you that most of the people on the floor, generally speaking, own some crypto.
Yeah, so no, I have some, I guess, some crypto as well, some Dogecoin, some XRP. You got to have the coin of the people. Come on, you got to have the coin of the people. You know, especially when you've got it on the low. It does not matter.
I traded it once. Like it was one day it was going nuts, and I bought and sold some in my Coinbase because
I still remember sitting with my buddy, and I was just like, dude, this is like a sub 10-cent ticker. On Doge, and the way it was setting up and with the way the crypto was going, I was like, this thing is about to squeeze. This thing is about to go. And this was under 7 cents at the time.
Were you here when you made this call?
No.
Okay.
No. This was a couple of years before.
But the next thing I was going to
that.
say is if you were here and you didn't share that with the floor, then that's a...
This was, I think this was a little bit before Bitcoin kind of broke, I think, might have been around that 11,000 mark.
Oh, you're talking about back then. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, I do hold some degen cryptos, along with some of the other ones, of course.
Degen cryptos?
Some Bitcoin and ETH as well. But yeah, the mining phase was pretty wild as well. So, but yeah, Coinbase very strong on the day, kind of coming into these lower highs right there. But I did kind of get long into that 116, but very strong on the day here. And again, Neil was like, make sure you're watching Bitcoin as well at the same time if you're trading this name. And we did kind of observe that Bitcoin comes in quite heavily into these lows, this 37.6 right here. And what did we say this morning? Every time you have a strong quadunk on Bitcoin, there is a general trend that's been happening after we broke above that consolidation above 31,000. And a lot of these heavy dips continue to keep on getting, continue to get bought up over and over again. So we saw a little bit of that happen, but not too crazy of a buyout. But on that sentiment, a lot of these crypto tickers have been going straight up all day.
So a couple of things. I do know the actual degenerate ones, but I don't use that term, the whole degens. It's like I haven't heard that in a while. B, I never really got involved in those, so it's absolutely true. But I am going to make this point. At some point, Day Trader the World is getting crypto on the platform, and when it does, I'm going to out you here, Fabian. And when it does, I propose that at least once, right, because I know Fabian knows his stuff when it comes to trading crypto a little bit. Nod your head a little bit. I'm staring right at you. You can nod your head. So what should happen is he should have to sit in this chair one day, and then I can sit over there and then put up whatever shot I'm actually physically able. I have no idea how to use that board, but then I can operate the cameras and make fun of him by hitting the buttons whenever the heck I want to, and then he has to trade live and figure it out like Sean and I have to do every single day, and Obi and Sharif and Adara. So I think that would be a heck of a lot. We've always joked around that, like, what would it be like if we switched roles and they had to do what we do and we had to do what they do? Now, the problem is the stream would be an abject failure. You guys wouldn't see anything or hear anything unless Sean has a hidden talent that I'm not aware of. I'm pretty sure we'd both be useless on that board, so we'd need some help. But I think it would be a heck of a lot of fun. Katrine could host as well. That would be a lot of fun. Kat's not here today, as you guys can tell. But just a couple things going back over to Tesla. See what I mean about changing strategy a little bit? So I'm going to reload. I wanted underfills. So if I say I want underfills or money fills, usually what I'll mean is if I'm trading off of a level, I want fills underneath that price. So if you're seeing support here, and I'm generally saying I like 237, which is where I'm long, when I decided it's more of a scalp trade, it's like scalp some out for a tighter move, only into the 50 area, but then I only want to reload the trade underneath 237, because yes, it's bouncing off that price area, but it's filling you underneath. So if it's not going to move as much, don't take 37 long, take like 36.8 long, risk like 15, 20 less cents, and make a little bit more out of the scalp trade. So that's what we mean. It was Luca was on our show and called them money fills. That's actually something I've been trading a long time. I'd never heard someone say that, but that's what it means. You're trading off a key price level, but if you want the long, you want it underneath when it's breaking, and people that are just going back and forth getting stopped out, you're just waiting for that to happen at the even dollar. You're taking the fill underneath, and then it bounces the same range anyway. So that's what I would like to be able to get here on Tesla. While that has happened, so one successful scalp trade, AMD's done absolutely nothing. Why would I take a breakdown? Ugh. This is the kind of trade that even if it works, I'm still going to hate it. Which generally means, okay, that. I'm just going to get some out. But it could still work. So one of the things that, and the reason why I'm saying that, I'm thinking this out loud, there's now 27 minutes left in the day. Not an hour and 27, and certainly not 3.5 hours left in the day. So why would I take a range break in a range-bound trade, right? So like sometimes you self-correct. I didn't punch it all out, but I punched most of it out. You have to self-correct. The trade should be short it here and let it break like 10 cents higher. And then that way, if it breaks a low, you're kind of already in the money and it's doing something. Or you can just look for it to break down when the highest probability is that it's doing what it's already doing, which is barcoding. You got to think about it that way, especially on a holiday short type of afternoon. Right? Like, what is more likely for the rest of this afternoon? That AMD just bamboozles in a tight range and the better trade is to scalp it, or that it breaks down and falls all over itself? I know what I know what I prefer to happen, but it doesn't matter what I want. right? Like it certainly doesn't matter what I want on Sunday with regards to the Buffalo Bills, so why would it matter what I want with AMD, right? So you got to think of it that way. So now that it's coming into VWAP, I'm kind of wishing I could have just punched it all out. That would have been wise. I'll see if I can't get a fill here a little closer to 50. That way I'm risking less, and I can scalp inside the range. If it breaks higher, fair enough. I'm going to lose anyways if it breaks the top of this range. But suddenly, if it goes to the bottom end, I can scalp some out and still be working with the possibility of a winning trade without it breaking that range. If it breaks the range, great. It's going to be fantastic and all that good stuff. Ty Bryant, do not overtrade. You're right. If you watch the program in the afternoon, I'd like to think that I really don't overtrade. It's part of my style. But if you're trading this, then you should be trading the way it's. If you're going to trade this move, you got to trade it as it's going. Overtrading would be, oh my gosh, it's breaking that. I could have just averaged into this, but to me, it's like no, just take a small hit on the bulk here and then re-enter that amount here. You know, like it's that. I'd rather do that than average all the way in. They could both work, but I don't want to add exposure to the trade. So I'm only looking at two things right now. I got the Tesla off this VWAP that I'm looking to scalp again, and I got AMD, and I don't think I will take another trade. Like if I trade something else, something extraordinary would almost have to happen.
Coinbase, maybe?
I mean, Coinbase.
Potentially, Coinbase, maybe?
Coinbase makes some sense, but I have not been trading Coinbase today. I was trading Mara. Hey, and then look at that. Yeah, so I mean, I was trading Mara pretty much all day long. Coinbase looks pretty good. It's giving you 50 cents to $1 up here, but I haven't been following it all day long.
Yeah, I was curious what the short float here on the Coinbase is, and I did look it up.
Hang on a second. Let me guess. I want to make a guess first.
Okay, all right.
I'll say 12%.
12%.
Maybe. No, I said 12 already.
I have here about 13.59. That's pretty close. That's pretty.
Okay, I'm going to check another source just to see if I can be even closer. That's from, oh goodness, Coming to America. 12.8% according to Trade Ideas. So because I'm just going to say that one's right because I said 12, but it doesn't really matter. It's got a decent short float.
Yes, definitely has a decent short float there. And I think we may or may not be trapping a little bit of shorts here. I did get a little too early. And again, this looks like a great short. Don't get me wrong. I was tempted to short this, but I was like, with the way we've held that 115, like we've barely got any sort of pullback on a strong name like this, when the market is pretty much teetering underneath its pre-market consolidation right there. Another thing, Neil, is that Bitcoin continues to bid up, and we're kind of pushing towards that 38,000 there. So what I'm looking for are potential new highs on the day, just going into the close here. Again, Friday, Thanksgiving long weekend, a little bit of a short flow, nothing too crazy, right? 12%. We've seen much higher, but if you have the confluence of the Bitcoin move, kind of pushing that move into that coin, I think that's a valid thing. Like we've seen how well it held, and take a look at that. We are breaking kind of this trend. So if any shorts, we're kind of using this rudimentary kind of just a level to kind of guide their short trade, as because the trend did bend to the sideways after we kind of had this strong momentum to the upside. I think we were talking about finding players offside, especially on a day like today. Right?
That's the best.
Especially on a day like today, if you manage to find some players offside, I think the probabilities are definitely going to be stacked in your favor there, as coin pushes right back up into 116.5.
I got to give an update. I want to answer a question, but then I want to show. So obviously AMD is going to lose, right? So I'll slap the fail on it. But here's the difference. Like I got in, I took the bulk of it out, essentially flat for a small hit, and then just said, okay, I'll trade reloading at that price and then risking essentially 12 cents off that price. Like if you think about it, like from bottom to top, that's a 20-cent move. So I could have been short the bottom and averaging into the same level and then getting stopped out at that same top and lose 3 to 4 times the amount of money, as opposed to admitting this is not trading how I wanted to, get a bulk of it, it's still going to stay in the short. So, stay in the bulk, get the bulk out, stay in some of it, reload at a better price with the same stop out anyways. That's, to me, like that's the style of trading, that's how I roll. And if it never goes to that high and it just breaks down from there, I'm not going to make as much. Obviously, that's true. There is an opportunity cost to every decision you make. If I reduce the risk here to lose less when I'm wrong, then I'm not going to make as much in that trade when I'm right. But there was a good. The question was, how do I? Oh, and now I don't see it. Here it is from Daniel. How do you control over trading after achieving a daily goal? This is a tricky one. Ooh. I have seen way too many traders. And it happens all the time. By the way, Tesla might even stop out too. This whole counter trend thing with Tesla, it's so true. Like the market goes, you can see bounces and other things, and Tesla will go down because it's an EV name. So if you've had a very good day, it is easy. Like you're feeling it, all that good stuff. Your read is good. The setups that you like are there. Any way to not overtrade is to be someone who trades specific setups. Know the setups that work for you, right? Especially at that time of day. Okay, so am I a trader that likes a curl off of, if I like to short something in the afternoon, I want it to be under VWAP, I like failures at VWAP, that's a setup I like. Breakdowns off of VWAP at key price levels. This was a pre-market high, it was previous resistance, it was a failed breakout above with a lower high, the consolidation under. That is a trade I like. So I'm trading a setup that I like and that only. I'm not gonna try to find something that isn't like an A+ or like one of the things that I like to do or that has worked for me. And if you don't define the types of setups that work for you that give you an edge, then you are going to find yourself over trading, because when you're up, so many things are going to look good. Someone just said in the chat, Neil, you usually like shorting Coinbase. I didn't even really think about this. That's probably why I traded Mara today instead of Coinbase. Not probably, I'm sure that's exactly why I traded Mara. And I wasn't even thinking consciously about that. I usually like shorting Coinbase. Coinbase is bullish today. So instead of trading Coinbase long, I traded Mara long and then tried not to look at Coinbase. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, why wasn't I short here? Like, it's the first thing that came to my mind when I pull up this chart. Why wasn't I short here on Coinbase? Thankfully, I was looking at Mara all day and then not shut down shorting Coinbase. Not that I've shut myself down trading Coinbase short before. I don't think that's ever happened. But I've definitely had situations where I went against the grain on coin and it was my worst trade. So third time, not a charm on Tesla. I'm just going to get the you-know-what out of Dodge here. I might set myself back up. Oh, it's a triple top on ARM. Sorry, guys. So Tesla just broke down. We did get a scalp trade, but the reload is not going to be any good. Triple top on ARM. ARM, again, was a good long today. If you had it, I was like Sharif, man. I had the initial trade. Then I don't know why I got back into it early off of VWAP instead of late. Late is better than early. Every single time. If you have a parabolic mover on the upside, be patient on the way back in. I do this so often. And just to double answer that question, I guarantee you I don't make this early trade, like impatient trade, if I don't make money early on the stock. Because I'm like, yeah, who cares? I'm already up on it. That kind of nonsense. If I had never traded it, I'm never taking that long. I'm waiting for this to set up for me. But when you're up, you do stupid things like that, where you're just like, I'm up on the stock. I can get in early. It's fine. I can take the hit. No, you should wait for it to show you that this level is going to come back and be good, which it does here on this break, and then confirms there. But now it's a somewhat double top, triple top, bit of a double top. If it breaks this high, I probably wouldn't want to touch it. Oh, goodness, it's 12:42. There's only like 18 minutes left in the day. Okay, I have to actually think differently about this because, I would never take a breakout this late in the day, generally speaking. So I don't think I want that break anymore. Intel is really strong going into the close as well. Like if this sets up for a scalp trade, I'm much more comfortable scalp trading Intel than ARM. I'm generally trading ARM for bigger moves. So I think if I try to play something off a high of the day, I'd much rather do it on Intel where I could scalp a few cents out of it instead of try to make something happen on ARM.
Yeah, so I am, again, with almost about 15 minutes left, I think Neil kind of pointed out something important there. Maybe a little bit of profit taking. We saw some profit taking kind of across the board out the open, right? Clearly, a lot of selling coming in. Coin hasn't necessarily experienced any of that. But if Bitcoin kind of continues to kind of slowly push up into that 38, again, a lot of things can happen over the weekend as well, right? With 15 minutes, with roughly about about 15 minutes left. Nothing too crazy here. Got a little bit short on the Amazon right there. Got stopped out initially, but then get right back in because it was just like, yeah, clearly my stop was too tight there, and yeah, so when it comes right back in, this 146.60 seems to be a little bit of support here. Our initial short too early into that, but again, off of a lower high, kind of coming in, and then the market, a little bit of a turn on the market as well. But Coinbase and Bitcoin kind of not really showing any of that weakness here as we're continuing to break through these tops. Now, something I don't know if we mentioned this here on Coinbase there, Neil, but I did look at it on a higher time frame real quick, and we are kind of breaking through some key levels here as of today's price action right here. Let's take a quick look left right here. So right there, that 114.39 was a previous high, and we just slapped it up, kind of just a bit right, yeah, slap chopped it up, kind of bid right through it, that 114, and look at this consolidation. This consolidation, as of right now, when we started going sideways on Coinbase, has held above that level right there. So again, a little bit of confluence for the long potential, and again, maybe some short float as well, getting a little bit offside, but I could very well be wrong on this trade. I'm just looking for a potential continuation.
You know, it took you all day to say confluence.
Yes, confluence.
That is ridiculous. I'd have said it the Eddie Murphy way, but I don't think I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube. So, you know, like,
no,
ridiculous. The way that, okay. Anyways, just Obi's got some homework to do. One of them is to watch Delirious and Raw. The other thing is to watch Talladega Nights because he didn't get the Ricky Bobby shake and bake reference, which. The interesting thing is anyone that watches the show, you probably have noticed that, like, Sean and I, like our hip hop movie references, all that kind of good stuff. We've known each other since high school, so it kind of flows. And a lot of us are around the same age. Don't hit the boomer key, please, because I'm not a boomer. But yeah, that's what it's all about. You got to have a little bit of fun. I just got into in and out of some on Intel here. Everything is a scalp trade. There's 15 minutes left. So if we come to my chart, I got 85 short into this high at 88. So there's a local high at 88, 85 short. It just printed 81s, which is a little better than 1-to-1 on the trade. And then I want VWAP. That's all I'm taking. Now, I didn't see an early look on the imbalances, but I can tell you that in terms of individual names, there was nothing of significance. LU is going to be there, BAC, 500,000 sell. You don't see any big names on the early look. I would be surprised, I mean very surprised, if we saw some big imbalances, okay? It could happen, but I'd be shocked. It's a holiday shortened day, to be sure. Of course, Tony Price, there's nothing wrong with being a boomer. Also, I see Michael Lloyd talking about The Wire. Okay, so I don't know if Obi's seen The Wire, but anybody that is into good writing in terms of watching TV, The Wire is the single greatest show ever. Like, I would say at least a couple times a week, I'll find myself like I'll be on the train or something, and I'm just watching clips of The Wire on like YouTube or something. The show is so damn good. Like, there's so many scenes that are unbelievable in it. If you've never watched it, I promise you'd be most people you're going to be a fan of. There's something for everybody in that show.
Okay.
Like, it is brilliant. Every single layer of a city gets dissected. Starting with the police. I don't want to spoil too much if you've never seen it. Shout out to you, Austin. Rest in peace, Omar, all that good stuff. But anyways, let me get back to Tesla for a quick second, because since I got out, and that was a good out, and sometimes it's about knowing when the trade is wrong and just getting the heck out of Dodge. It gave you the first scalp trade. I'm going to you know what? I'm making a rule up for myself that I have to examine whether it should be a rule forever. But if I ever see a trade like this on a holiday shortened day, where the afternoon, the second half of the day was trend down, despite the fact that Tesla was strong, there's not a lot of time for it to work. Yeah. You get the bounce off VWAP, you get the heck out of Dodge. Like, this was respect the fact that it had this channel on it, and it failed that break. So when it fails this, don't reload there. That's a new rule I'm making for myself. There's two, I'm gonna put that in. Like, look at the channel, did this break the channel to the upside there? No. Why am I reloading off of VWAP when it just showed me a reason for failure? And it's not to say you can't do that. It's to say that on a holiday shortened day, when that's 30 minutes left in the day, I shouldn't be doing that trade, right? So again, you can think out loud. I'm just giving you, like, when I'm reviewing my trades, this is what I would be doing anyways. And I don't think I want to put anything new on right now. So when I'm reviewing this trade, the first thing that stood out to me was, look at the channel, you idiot. There's no reason after it just failed that's bearish. If it's 1 o'clock and there's all like during the middle, if it's 1 o'clock on a normal day, bounces off VWAP are great. And I'd be in that one until it stops working, because that's what you do at VWAP or that kind of a setup in the middle of the day. But this is the end of the day. And at the end of the day, people are taking profits, all that good stuff, and the trend is down. There is no need to reload that trade the third time. That's all I'm getting at. So the next time I do that, it's like, don't do it, Neil. I'm not going to reload this trade because there's like 1 minute to go until the imbalances come out. So was able to get some out there at 81. I'm going to get the rest back out there at 81 if I get a chance again. Even cancel this bid. Not looking to gift horse in the mouth. Not when there's only 10 minutes left. Yep. Not a heck of a lot of time for you to make things happen. ARM had a solid close. I almost could have gone back to this, but I had a focus which was pretty narrow in the afternoon. Like, there wasn't much I really liked. Obviously, I like that Tesla VWAP. It looked pretty good. And ultimately, it looks like I could have found a way to have won on that on the AMD trade. That doesn't make it right. I'm glad I didn't do much with ARM. Wow. I think your trade would have been trading off of VWAP. That is what a VWAP bounce should look like. Like, it shouldn't, if it fails the lower high and then keeps on doing that off the level, that's a trend back in. You want it to bounce off and step back to the upside. ARM is on one. And you just got to respect that ARM is on one potentially until it gets right back up to those tops. So I just got out of Intel, and the imbalances just hit. So before we go back to you, Obi, I can quickly show you LU still there. Lucid is 1.2 million to sell. BAC 750,000 to buy. Broadcom, that's pretty big for Broadcom, 390,000. Remember, they just closed that VMware deal, which everyone seems to really like for them. Not much else. Amazon is 300,000 to sell for Amazon. You're short, so that's good. Yeah, Apple, 300,000 to sell-ish as well. So some small sell balances. Tesla, 200,000 to sell. I just saw it there for a split second. So mostly to the sell side, from what I can tell. The market doesn't seem to really care. As I mentioned, I just got out of Intel. I said I'm going to go right back on the 81 bid. If that's what it's going to give me, I'm just going to take it, right? Like, we're at the end of the day. It's been a good day. It's been a fun one. I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving yesterday. But I see you're still in 2 positions.
Yes. So I did the Coinbase there. We kind of bid right back above that 116, and yeah, my stop never got hit on the Amazon, regardless of what the inbound kind of came out as. So I think we're good on that one for now. Might even mock that one, but this 116's got a hold. We got our second entry right here. This 115.29. Again, really pieced off of that initial entry. Was not that great there. But you know what? With only about a few minutes left, 9 minutes left, I will piece out of that Coinbase. Thank you, come again. That was a kind of just a chop. I just wanted to interact with that 115. We saw how it was consolidating. There it goes past that 116. Wow. All right, so I just wanted to work with that 115. We talked about why that may or may not be kind of a decent level to work with here. And okay, so Amazon is breaking back down through this consolidation potentially. And yeah, so I think we talk about like recycling levels, kind of churning levels. If a level is interesting, we might print that price over and over again, especially for consolidating. We talked about that previous high being just above that 114. And when Coinbase does start to go sideways and lose some of that morning trend, the consolidation has only held above that previous high. So that to me is very convincing for a potential long. And like, we're making lower highs, trapping the shorts, almost selling the short. We talk about that. This was a great setup that looked like it was a good short. But I was like, oh, no, no, no. The fact that we're holding above that 114, plus that consolidation post strong Momo all day, I do want to get long, and it seems like going into the close, that 116 continues to get bid up. If we go to that 117, oh boy, was I wrong in getting out this early. But you know what? It is what it is. We got about a point off of that 115. We churned it around a couple of times there. And with only about 7 minutes left, I'm looking to kind of close off this Amazon position as well there, Neil. Nothing too crazy today. If you caught the momentum out the open, I think that was pretty decent there.
Yeah, that's what you want.
We've gone sideways only since then. And I think we were talking about this. A lot of the price action as of lately has been just that. You get a strong move in the morning, the first 15 minutes to half an hour, maybe 10 o'clock, and then you just go range sideways for the rest of the day, and it becomes a lot more difficult. So maybe a lot of the move is getting saturated in that first trading session.
So what that means, what it means if you're an active trader in the general sense, if you don't catch a play off that first move, and you'll see this in the morning show from us all the time. Like if you're not in the direction on that first move, it's either wait and fade it, right? Like if you were looking dip and rip on Intel, you gave you 43.5. If you're in that trade, great. But if you're not in that trade, then you're just sitting there waiting. And if it was me, that wick in the chart. If it was me, I'd just be waiting to fade the 44 level because that's the next trade. I can't worry about, am I going to get a chance at that long again? If it does, if it happens, it happens, and it happened to give it to you there. But you can't really fight those moves. If you chase it too far, you definitely get in some trouble. Alex Davis was like, because look, I have a new thing from now on, and I'm just making up right here. Every now and then you'll see like I get left on the shot when it goes to either Sean or into Obi in this particular case. I'm just going to bust a move from now on. If my face is on camera and I'm not saying anything, I got to do something to entertain you guys. So in that particular case, I did the bogle a little bit, did a little bit of that. Like I don't care. It's just we're having a little bit of fun. It's only 5 minutes to go. Not a heck of a lot happening. I saw some people talking about the game today. First off, I actually want the Jets to win for obvious reasons because Buffalo is chasing Miami, right? So I want the Jets to win today, which really pains. As a Bills fan, if I have to, like I like Miami much more. Like my brother went to school in South Florida. My dad worked there for a few years. I spent my summers at university chilling on South Beach. So I love Miami, but today I want the Jets to win because Miami is a threat to my Buffalo Bills. It is that simple. I'd also like Jalen Waddle to have a big game for my fantasy league. But what the heck is the deal with the time? Someone explain to me why Amazon wants this game to be at 3 o'clock. I don't understand that. Like, what is the reason why the only NFL game today on Black Friday is right in the middle of the day? Like, what the hell is going on? And what is Amazon thinking? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I ask this question to myself every day.
What is Amazon thinking?
What is Amazon thinking? Really?
Like what is it trying to do? I have no
okay,
I have no
that's
idea.
The stock.
Okay. I thought you.
No, I'm like, but why? Why? I don't know. Like, wouldn't you still want to have it in prime time? Everyone's on vacation. Oh, viewers in Europe? Okay. No, here's the thing. Robot just says Amazon knows what they're doing. I 100% am for that. Like, I have a general principle for myself that is like, if I don't understand something, and I just assume Amazon has a smart reason that I can't think of. I'm not saying it's an idiot thing they're doing. I'm just saying I don't get it, and there has to be an intelligent reason why. I just want to know what it is. Like I don't know. I'm sure there's a good reason why. I just want to know what it is. It doesn't matter. I get to watch it. So all time zones from Hawaii to New York can see it. That sounds pretty good as well. That's a good one. You guys are smart. That's what I love about. That's the thing. That's what I love about our viewers, and what I love about this community is you have no idea how many times Sean and I'd be like, we're thinking something out loud and we don't really know, and then we'll look up and you guys are telling us in the chat, right? And it's fun like that. The trading floor was always like that. Like someone would just yell
it's like an extension. It's like 5,000 people of just like a hive mind almost. You know, you ask a question and it's just like boom, okay.
Speaking of which, the hive mind just spoke in my ear. I want to remind everybody there is no market recap show today. However, if you do miss us, we taped the podcast on Wednesday instead of today. Right, so we taped the podcast on Wednesday. Brennan and I taped the podcast. We're releasing it on Saturday as usual. It's a lot of fun to do it. We're doing a rotation, but this week was the day that we did it on Wednesday. Usually it's going to be taped on Friday after market. We had taped it on Wednesday, so you're going to be able to consume that as per usual. Saturday morning, it's available everywhere. You can find a podcast. You just watch it on YouTube if you want. I was listening to last week's on Spotify myself, but you do you. You can find it on Apple, all that good stuff. I want to shout everyone out in the chat, for sort of sticking with it on a day like today. There were really good trading opportunities on these holiday shortened days. You have to be very patient and very particular about the trades, but what I have found, it is easier to find the high percentage trades if you're really, really patient with them. You just don't want to overtrade and have some specific setups that are going to work. And a lot of traders tend to not want to be in on this day. I found early on in my career, I learned the hard way. It was the first New Year's Eve. I decided to take it off. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was going out that night. I had a good year and a good week. I'm not going to trade. My trading buddy who sat next to me, we were in training together, and we traded all the same stuff, sent me a text that woke me up at 10:30. And he had made more money in the first hour of the day than we had the entire week.
Wow.
And like after that, I was like, okay, unless I'm actually going somewhere or doing something else, I'm going to be in on those days. Because as a trader, like that's what it's all about. So we have 1 minute to go. I want to make sure I'm canceling any stops or orders that I have out there because that would be silly. Shout out to you, Bitcoin trader. We can do that for sure. We can do a little roll call if you want. That can be a little bit of fun in that last little minute. Dara is going to be on the bell. I hope everybody enjoys their day today or the rest of it. If you didn't spend it with family yesterday, spend it with family this weekend. Make sure you get all the sales you want. I did pick up a coffee grinder. Well, I mean, I ordered one on Amazon. It was like a Cuisinart, but it was like a burr grinder. Brendan told me that's what I'm supposed to get. So I said that's what I was shopping for on Black Friday, and that's what I ended up getting. So shout out to all of you in the chat that joined us today. NVIDIA's getting ready to go. Maybe it is. Shout out to you, Andrew Chow. You have a great weekend as well. Let's go, RH. Eliza, Mr. Westermeyer, you are the GOAT. Josh Allen's the GOAT. And then you, Mr. Westermeyer. Thank you, D-Factor as well, Bristol, Justin, Sergio. We appreciate you. You know what you got to do right now, and that's get the camera off us. Send it on over to Adara. Oh, there they are. There's Ram Ram. Get the countdown on. As there's Ram Ram. You can almost see Fabian behind the bell. Kind of, sort of. There he is in 4, 3, 2, and ring it. And there we go. So another fun day. We appreciate everybody. It was an absolute blast. Obi, thank you for filling in for Sean.
Thank you for that.
You know he's at a rink somewhere right now. I mean, hopefully he's enjoying. I know he's enjoying himself, but he's pretty much always at a rink on the weekend. So I just guessed that he's at a rink, and then 99% of the time I'm right. As you just saw, thank you, Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s, and Adara and Obi Adara and Sharif for cramming a lot into 1 hour of educational content. As always, Brennan, want to thank you for bringing us that news. We had Michael Noss on this morning. You know who I am, from my homie Sean, who is chilling out right now in some kind of a rink watching Gia play, I'm going to assume. And for all of you out there, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out the podcast when it drops tomorrow morning, and we'll see you back on Monday. Bye, guys.
Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.